What's up? How you doing? A long time ago, a very long time ago, when my mother was a lot younger, she got into a very big fight with my grandfather. Very big fight. These are the kind of situations that create forks in the road. In those days, my grandfather owned a peach farm, and he also owned a big radio, about that high, that wide, a lot of wattage, a lot of power in those speakers. And he would get home at 6 o'clock, and his favorite thing to do was sit in his favorite chair and listen to the news on that radio. Well, my mother liked that radio too, and during the day she would listen to Sofia Vembos. Nice and loud, where the neighbors would complain. My grandfather would get home and they would complain, the radio's too loud, what's going on over there? And so my grandfather would talk to my mother and say, you can't play it that loud, plus you're going to blow out the speakers. She'd say, yeah, okay, I get it. So he would go to work and she'd blast it again. Well, one particular day, she had it very loud on a 10, and she blew out the speakers. She didn't know what to do, so she shut it off and went in her room. My grandfather gets home 6 o'clock, sits in his favorite chair, turns the radio on. It's not working right. He's all pissed off. He goes and starts yelling at her. It's like you blew out the speakers. They get into this big shouting match. My mother leaves, goes downstairs in the basement and grabs this axe. This changed everything. She grabs this axe and goes down to the farm and chops down all the peach trees. And then comes home. She was very pissed off. Comes home, goes to bed. My grandfather gets up the next day at like 5 a.m., goes down to the farm and sees all the trees on their side. He didn't know what to do. He was panicking. Comes home, all pissed off, starts yelling again. And what could he do? The only thing he could do is buy a knife, this one here, and they had a mountain in the back, big mountain. Had a lot of wild boar on that mountain, a lot of wild pigs. And to feed the family, he would hunt with the knife. He would hunt the wild boars. That's how he fed the family for a while, but eventually they ate all the pigs, and they had to move to a new world. And in the new world, my grandfather, he opened up a bakery. And for the first 3 years, it was very slow. But eventually, word got out, because he had a very good recipe, making bread, and people would come from all around to buy that bread. Forks in the road. Had my mother not chopped down those trees, everything that happened after that never would have happened. The trajectory changed. Anyway, my grandfather and grandmother too, but my mother, they finally made up after a while. And years later they were laughing about it, but at the time when it happened, it wasn't funny. They panicked. And, those were tough years. But they ended up getting a bakery out of it. And to this day, people talk about that bread. Very tasty bread. Yep. That's it. Good night, John Boy.